level.
After Westgate, the discrimination was pretty bad. People, they don't think of us as good people. They just condemned us, you know. It hurts, you know, when you are like in a matatu and people start looking at you like, you know, like a suspect. We don't deserve that. Al-Shabaab, they don't stand for all Somalis.
Eastleigh, or Little Mogadishu, is dominated by Somali businesses. A quarter of Nairobi's tax revenue is generated here, making it vital for Kenya's capital. And yet Somalis are culturally isolated.
Silence on set, silence on set.
Iman's project offers ethnic groups a chance to interact.
Eastleighwood is playing a big role, a very big role, because it has reduced crime in a way. Because most of the guys who are perpetrating heinous activities in the communities, most of them have joined and also showcased their talent.
Eastleighwood's films are shown in tiny cinema halls in the neighbourhood. The challenge, however, is that Iman and his team not only face discrimination from Kenyans, they also struggle with accusations from their own community.
So many people actually are trying to disseminate a lot of propagandas, telling us, you guys, you are changing our youth, you are targeting beautiful girls, you are promoting Western, you know, values. They want us to stop what we are doing. But I'm saying today, if I die, there are so many like Iman who will take from it. And we hope Eastleighwood will work generations like Hollywood.
Iman's project is funded by local businesses, and it turns out to be a very successful one.
It is important we tell our stories. I like the fact that despite the accusation and discrimination, Iman is trudging on and even getting funding for his films. From making films, we go to watching films. In Cameroon, Christian Kwesi is determined to give the visually impaired a feel of watching films.
A fitness trainer comes to his home every morning because Christian Kwesi needs to exercise a lot. A side effect of the medication is that I gain weight really quickly. Christian lost his eyesight at the age of 20. He now wants to do something for blind people in Cameroon. He shows films with audio descriptions. The district authority is hosting the event at the community hall. This is the fourth screening the 28-year-old and his friends have organized. Cultural centers show movies, but they are only for people who can see. Nobody thinks of us. If people like us with disabilities don't help ourselves, nobody will. His former schoolmate Patrick relaxes after helping to set things up. We're all moved by how strong he is, by how he keeps forging ahead. It gives us a push. The first guest to arrive is an old acquaintance. He's come all the way from a town in western Cameroon. But disenchantment soon sets in. The district authority failed to send out invitations. No one else has showed up. We're going to watch the movie anyway, even if it's only for Luke. He has traveled so far to get here. At least the film suits the situation. The Untouchables is a French comedy about a man who can't move his body from the neck down, but wants to enjoy life regardless. Christian was Cameroon's youngest high school graduate. He used to dream of a career in business. Now I'm fighting to be as independent as possible. The two friends are not giving up. Somewhat frustrated, they set off to promote additional screenings. Then they make a brief stop to charge up his cell phone. I can't move around the city on my own. The city doesn't provide for that at all. Christian and Patrick have an appointment with the province's social affairs delegate. They hope to get better support from her for their next screenings. We had never heard of films for blind people. Christian is bringing along a real innovation. The politician wants to support him. Christian Kwesi hopes this will prove to be one more step toward making the city a more livable place for people with disabilities.
Christian Kwesi's story is one of the selfless individual who is looking beyond his disability to help others like him. Now from film, we go to music. One man thinks that bongo flavor in Tanzania can change the world.
Baraka da Prince is well known in his neighborhood in Dar es Salaam. He's a bongo flavor singer and songwriter. Everyone here. The music video reached the top 10 and was broadcast on TV in Tanzania and across East Africa. But one song couldn't earn him a living. That's why artists like Baraka are over the moon when they're discovered by Joseph Kusaga. For almost 3 decades, he's been promoting young, talented musicians.
There are a lot of talents out there, but the money issue, as you said, is a challenge for them. Actually, getting studio time right now, I think per record is about 400,000, 300 or 400,000, which is not small money. It's big money.
300,000 Tanzanian shillings is about 150 euros. Joseph Kusaga is the manager of a popular radio station. By giving artists free airtime on his radio station and on television, Kusaga has made bongo flavor East Africa's most popular style of music.
Before, it was very difficult for people to support bongo music because I remember most of the people thought that bongo music was, rap was for hooligans. But now people are taking music as very serious.
Bongo flavor has now conquered the hearts of the population in Tanzania. My biggest dream is to make Tanzania known internationally through music. And Baraka da Prince is determined to do everything in his power to make that dream come true.
A meeting point for Yaoundé's vibrant music scene. Musicians practice here every day. The band Kemyi Savin has even performed their Cameroonian musicians as piracy. Shops selling copyrighted music are few and far between. Ruben distributes his CDs through a chain of gas stations across the country. Cameroon's first paid internet streaming service has also just been launched. Digitization is a solution if we can offer the people what they want and do it on a legal basis. The biggest commercial success to date, Ex Malaya. Every Cameroonian knows this boy band. Ruben and the 3 boys are exploring new venues for their next video clip. I find this place quite risky, but it's very beautiful. A film crew from Nigeria is producing the video.
This location is amazing, and we get to see the whole city. And there are not many points that we can fly the drone very effectively here.
Video clips for the selfie generation. Today, Africa's music industry actually makes more money from ringtones than music albums. Ruben and his colleagues don't need a lot of space for their work. The small room on the ground floor of his house is his sales headquarters, programming room, and studio. I'm lucky to be someone who can organize things. That's why I always manage to do my own music in between. And there's nearly always time for a small jam session with Ruben's studio. If all goes well, this song too will end up on his online music platform.
Music industry is taking on the world. Still in music, we head to Guinea, where a woman is using music for activism, getting women to talk about forbidden topics like female genital mutilation and sex.
Sayon Bamba and her cohorts are planning what they call a culture raid. Their target, Fode Bakera, is a former Ghanaian culture minister and music manager. The women want to direct his attention to their activities at the Solio Academy. Sayon Bamba wasn't exactly invited this day, but she arrived anyway. I have nothing other than my voice and my songs. That's a choice I made. I did my studies, but I was never able to work in my field. My aim is to speak on behalf of women whose voices are never heard. That's what inspired Sayon Bamba to launch her initiative to promote young female artists. She has no workspace for them yet, so everything's improvised. Bamba wants to help these women develop their potential and empower them to discuss issues usually considered taboo, such as sexuality and female genital cutting. There are things that are important to us and the younger generation, things we need to address here in Conakry. Let's talk about them. The sensitivity of our bodies is not something that was created by someone, it's something we're born with. Anyone who wants to cut a girl has to know there's a vital part of her body that's being taken away from her. Sayon Bamba also acts as a coach for young women. Her role resembles that of a big sister. 2 weeks ago, one of the women in her academy had a baby, but her partner left her, and now she's a single mother. Men just aren't there. That's what's so terrible. We need men to be more responsible. Women want men to take more responsibility and use condoms without our having to tell them to. As soon as a baby is on the way, they disappear. Sayon Bamba has plenty of experience on that front. She has 3 children and is raising them alone. But she's still developed a career in the music business. That was only possible with talent, a good education, and support from others. Another goal of her academy is to support and encourage participants beyond music. You're still young. You're going to make it. Don't make the same mistakes we did. My baby's not going to stop me. When she cries, I'll take her with me. I'm going to stay in the academy with the other women. I haven't lost heart. Do what you really want and don't give up. That's Sayon Bamba's philosophy.
Across the continent, people are using ways like music to talk about serious and political issues. Well, a young female rapper, MC Law in Uganda, is rapping the news. Yes, you heard me right. Rapping the news. Now take a look.
I do a lot of stuff girls don't do. I climb trees, I can somersault, I can dance this break dance.
Uganda's youngest female rapper is 14 and goes by the name of MC Loy. She's become a star in her own country, regularly rapping the news on Uganda's NTV. The weekly voice recording in a production company is followed by a TV studio session. This modern news format is designed to reach young people who don't normally watch the news.
Despite concern that the bill might hurt the economy and send back tobacco farmers back to poverty. Making them to get to know what's happening in the country, abroad and so on. That really helps them like to know what's going on in the world, because if you live in the world and you know nothing about what's happening, then you may find yourself in a bad thing or a problem or so on.
That often happens to people in her generation. Half the population is under 15. Facebook and WhatsApp predominate here. Young people would rather listen to music than to the news. So what better way is there to reach them than to bring them the message across with music? Zoe Kabuye, that's her real name, buys newspapers as often as she can. So what is it that really bothers her?
That's part of child abuse, not taking a child at school. I wouldn't blame like parents who don't have money to take children at school, but I would only blame the government, which like doesn't build the infrastructure for the kids and so on, schools, yeah.
Her desire to remove fear and instill courage motivates her to teach kids at Sunday school.
You will hold a son in your arms. Well, she has no son and her husband is old.
Education for all, no more corruption. She has even put her demands to the president, wrapping them, of course.
Yes, I'm proud to be a Ugandan living in the beautiful motherland, the Pearl of Africa that grows every day and night with mega malls, roads, hospitals, education system, and so much more. But we need some more. And I want to be the first male president of my country, Uganda, the Pearl of Africa. What? Yeah, that was it. Oh.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you know, I made him know that I want to be. So he should just get prepared for MC Loy. We'll be in his seat someday.
According to the constitution, she has to wait until she is 35 to run for presidency. That leaves her plenty of time.
And MC Loy wants to be president, so Uganda, get ready for a rapid president, y'all. The young men in our next story are using humor to shed light on their realities in Zimbabwe. They have over 6 million viewers.
This trio has become Zimbabwe's comedy sensation. With their political satire show Zambezi News, the comedians make a witty parody of state propaganda and burning issues in Zimbabwe. The team is constantly working on new material.
Well, right now, this particular sketch basically is about race relations. You know, it's a big thing in Africa, but a lot in Zimbabwe as well, you know, the interaction between black and white people. So this is basically a white man, a white reporter from Zambezi News, Jerome Weathers, who's proving that blacks and whites get along.
I've been your politically correct correspondent, Jerome, rainbow is my color, Weathers.
Zambezi News is distributed on social media and DVDs. It has over 6 million viewers. While it's not broadcast on Zimbabwe state media, it has fans in other African countries because it sheds critical light on political realities. That's why state authorities perceive the show as an affront.
I think, you know, I think that's always the, you know, the joke in Zimbabwe is that you've got freedom of expression, but you don't have freedom after expression. And you know, that's, you know, it's definitely the case with, you know, with Zambezi News, is that it's you know, very kind of outspoken political satire, and of course we deal with the powers that be.
Based in the capital, Harare, Zambezi News reports from a country in the grip of a repressive regime after almost 30 years. The three comedians use satire to prompt people to think about sensitive issues and disregard threats and intimidation. The guiding principle of Zambezi News is you can laugh away your fear, but you can't look away from it.
Right. Welcome to what is this for again? The Shoko Festival. Okay. Firstly, I would like to thank everyone who worked on this great festival that is benefiting the nation. It is good for tourism and seeing flocks of artistic immigrants swarming from the imperialist nations and leaving their local currencies in our nation. And make sure that you have all the necessary clearance and documents, or we will come there and shut you down.
We always laugh at situations, you know. We're just trying to get people to laugh more, so that you don't cry so much and you don't complain so much. It's happening, yes, life is tough right now, but don't let it bury you. So this is why we're looking at life from a different angle, from a funny sort of angle.
The Zambezi News team is going into its 4th season. The cast is still confronted by state security agents who claim the comedians are pursuing an anti-government agenda. Considering Zimbabwe's outlook, there seems to be a need for the kind of comedy that Zambezi News provides.
Like we say in local parlance right here, if I no laugh, I go cry. Sometimes humor is a good outlet. Thank you for joining us in this episode of Africa on the Move in partnership with DW. See you next week. Bye.
Goal 10 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals speaks largely about eliminating inequality amongst countries and peoples. The United Nations clearly recognizes that businesses can also exacerbate inequality by being complicit in perpetrating biases and discrimination. The question, however, is, how exactly does this resonate with Nigeria? Lagos is the most populous city in Nigeria and has millions of persons. Among these are little persons also, often found in Osborn in Ikoyi. They are trying to make a living as they grapple with inequality and discrimination because of their physical appearances. Wisdom Abba and his wife Joanne are one of the little persons who moved from other parts of the country into Lagos to make a living by getting employed despite their physical inadequacies. They say that in Lagos, they had hoped to win the battle against discrimination, but this fight, however, seems to be a lost one as they are constantly marginalized by some employers while hunting for jobs.
Sometimes, somebody will promise me at where I'm selling market, just with drive car, we say we find work for me. I will pull up on that person. At last, the person will not find job. The person promise me, many of them.
When I want to look for a job, they said they can't give me a job, that I'm too short, said I should go.
This couple is not the only little person seeking an end to discrimination in job hunting. Nkubi and Shapali are celebrity broadcasters. They too say that they have had a painful taste of societal rejection.
I got called up for an interview. One of the management now walked up to me and told me that, look, I am sincerely very sorry. You are not the kind of person we are looking for.
My sister, growing up, she'll be like, Daddy, where do you get this thing from?
Though Shapali comes across as a very confident woman, she says growing up was torturous.
I'm talking to you, I don't know my mom till now. She ran away because